How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. Monday morning recording time, not a Sunday night as usual after a game. So we've all had a night's sleep to see how we feel about Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. The latest result in the Premier League game week 9 leaves us 5 short of City at the top, 4 behind the Liverpool at this time as well, with Newcastle and Chelsea round the corner in the league, but Preston before that, which is the one we're going to mini preview at the end and predict. But join us, people. Obviously, download the AFTV Plus app. You can join us in predictions on the Forever Predictor on that app. I'll let you know more about that later because we're already a minute in, and I don't want to waste any time because there's a lot to unpack from this one. Jordan.
Before we get to the important stuff, can I just confirm that this is the first time I've done a podcast where I'm the only member wearing actual Arsenal merchandise, meaning that I'm the only actual Arsenal fan, real Arsenal fan on this podcast? Is that an Arsenal top you got on?
But I just think grown men wearing Arsenal tops are wankers, really. So.
I feel embarrassed about learning from your comments.
Outdoors. Yeah, I agree. But I'm indoors. What I do in my house,
He said indoors. The stipulations are changing. Say no more. The day I catch Jordan outside with an Arsenal top, and I'm taking a picture for sure. But yeah, only this pod can start with a smile after what I perceive as a negative result for Arsenal. But obviously we'll get into it. It's not the worst result that could have happened off the back of all the injuries we had prior and the injuries we had in the game. But welcome back the regulars, Jordan, James, and Lee Judges. Lee, let's start with you, man. Emirates was booming. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, I thought the Emirates was fantastic yesterday. The atmosphere was brilliant. No speakers required. It was like really full on. It was a good atmosphere and proves that the Emirates now is one of the best atmospheres. I thought it was a really good game of football, I'll be honest. I thought I really enjoyed the game as a spectacle, end to end, ruined by officials, ruining the game. VAR is ruining the game. And I'm going to have to say it, boys, coming away from the game, I felt maybe like, could have won it, could have lost it in the end, drew it. So I weren't too really that bad. But since getting home and seeing clips and so-called pundits, what they're saying and all that, I've deleted all my Theo Walcott stuff. He's gone for me now, Theo. I met him in the summer, but he's gone, deleted his photo. He doesn't exist no more.
Don't know why you had it anyway.
Well, he seemed like a nice chap. But now he sat there and let that Jamie Carragher say what he had to say and didn't say anything, like, you know what I mean? Like, unbelievable. And let's be honest, Jamie Carragher is deflecting, trying to put it all on Arsenal because he see what his lovely Liverpool team were all about yesterday. And a makeshift back four, and they never went for it once. So, but that's all right. You slag off Arteta and unbelievable. And I just look at things and I just think, right, I'm going to bring it up. The goal, it's unbelievable, right? It's unbelievable that he sees a foul there. He sees a foul there, and it might well be a foul, right? But can someone tell me why he doesn't see a foul for the Martinelli penalty? He doesn't. No foul there. He gets that spot on, doesn't he? Like, you know what I mean? When there's probably 2 fouls in it, and then straight away within seconds of a header. Which, by the way, if there's any doubt that that's not a goal, it may be because it's handball on Havertz, but I still think it comes off his shoulder. He has no doubt and gives a free kick for a header, which is a perfectly good header, but he doesn't see the penalty. Foul, and I just felt yesterday, and I've watched a little bit of it back, and he give foul every critical decision he give them, but when it was like in our half and we were breaking, he might give us the foul. It was like, there was like fouls where you can go, I tell you what, there's nothing riding on that. There's no advantage for any team there. I'll give that Arsenal's way, but anything that was the other way, he went their way like that.
He made the easy decisions.
Yeah. And
I don't want controversy. I don't want to actually evaluate this properly. I'm going to make the easy decision. That's what we did.
Yeah, and I just I'm not taking it away from there. I felt that my biggest criticism of Arsenal yesterday, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I thought we started off really well. We went 1-0 up, and then when we went 1-0 up, we went back in our shell. That's something I will agree with Jamie Carragher for that, because I felt that we did. When they equalised about 8 minutes later, we went straight back on the front foot again and dominated the game. Now, that would be my only downfall. Now, you could turn around and say, well, maybe Liverpool come out a little bit. I'm not so sure. I think we dropped back. I think it's something that we do against the bigger teams. And then I felt that we was a better side. And as for people turning around and saying, oh, the second half doesn't sit right with us, we didn't go for it. Can I just put it in the context of it all? Like, within 2 or 3 minutes of it, we lose our main defender in Gabriel. Like, now that's on top of Saliba not being there, on top of Ben White, by the way, playing central defence for the first time in 2 years, and by the way, done really, really well. I do think that maybe you're going to just be a little bit more cautious with that when you've got a completely makeshift back four. You've got Thomas Partey, who've done fantastically well right back, but another makeshift thing. You've lost your mainstay of that back four. I do think that maybe that was a big consequence of why we just didn't quite go out for it in the second half. And do you know what? I think like pundits, not one of them's turned around and said that. You know what I mean? And I think Theo Walcott, in his defence, could have turned around and said, hold on a minute, Jamie. Like, you know, we haven't got Saliba. We've got this thing. What? Give us a little bit of a break there, please. And that was the only thing that I would say before people jump on the bandwagon and have a go at Arteta, have a go at everything like that. Take the context of what it was. You know what I mean? That was a big blow to lose Gabriel on that. And I don't, you know, and I think if I'd be really honest, we done well. And when we conceded the goal, why did we concede the goal? Because we was going forward. We was trying to get the third goal. But we got criticised for not being, you know, and I just felt that maybe it was the wrong decision doing that in the end of the day. So, ran over. But listen, I think we take the point with what we had. Saka, by the way, oh my God, that first 45 minutes. Do not anybody say that he doesn't get in at anybody's other team. He walks into every Premier League team now after that performance. And I tell you what, Robinson is no mug. But I tell you what Liverpool done yesterday, which no other team's done, is they went fullback 1-to-1 and he destroyed him. That is why they put 2 men on him every single time, because if you put one on him, he does that to an international fullback. Fantastic 45 minutes. Yes, he tired. Of course, he's going to tire. But what a first half performance from him.
Jordan, James, Lee's kind of spoke on the overall, you know, the referee side of things with the disallowed or whatever you call it at the end of the game, and also the way we've come out in the second half. Talked about the first half, so really it's up to you guys where we start on it. I'm weary to start with the referee stuff, even though I think, you know, we will talk about that. Why am I weary? We have a lot of people watching this pod and I know how they are. So if we start with the referee stuff, you know what they'll start with in the comments. Not to say that it's not very relevant, and I think it is, but it did happen at the end of the game. So I think maybe push that to after we talk about the performance, the lineup, the way the game went about, how it was managed, and then the referee decision at the end. Jordan.
James, do you mind if I go jump in first? So I agree with Lee. First of all, the atmosphere yesterday, I was there, was really good. The Arsenal fans really gave the boys a great start and a great atmosphere to come into. Can I just say there was one guy that saw me walking up the steps to my seat who's still accusing me of only watching the highlights. I'm like, bro, like, I'm literally... Anyway, so the first things first, the atmosphere was amazing. I didn't think, I know this is a bit of a contradictory point to make, but I didn't think we did start well at all. I know we scored after 9 minutes, but I didn't think we started well at all. I thought it took us 5 minutes, I counted, for us to get the ball into their half. I thought it was an awful start from Arsenal. And the goal aside, and I get the goal is quite important, but the goal aside, I thought the first 20 minutes we were rubbish. We didn't do anything. So I wasn't impressed with how we started the game. Just kind of respond to a lot of Lee's points, some of which I agree, some of which I disagree with. I think, first of all, that their equaliser, the second goal, is a disgrace. That second goal cannot be scored at this level. It's an embarrassment. That second goal, to be countered like that is disgraceful. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I think Martinelli, and people will say I've got an agenda, first of all, should have done better with the attack that we had, which led to the counter. I thought Martinelli didn't do well there. And I think generally, again, I won't comment on him too much because people say I'm a hater. I think his performance has been overinflated. I thought he was good, but I don't think I think the gap between him and Saka is becoming chasmic now. I think the gap between our two wingers is huge. We've got one winger that actually is what I call flirting on the left, and you've got one winger on the other side that's making babies. And I think that's the best way I think I can use to describe the two wingers we've got and the difference in what they're actually producing. You've got Martinelli's touch.
If you call that flirting, he ain't even with no numbers. I don't even think that's the word.
Well, I'm being kind. I'm being kind, Turkish, because I think all this touching the ball, I think his endeavour was there. I don't think he was missing. I don't think he was anonymous, but his output for me is just not good enough. I praised him a little bit on the last pod. I thought he was better in this game. I think when Saka has been carrying us for so long, I just think we need something from Martinelli. I was looking for him to be the guy today or yesterday, and I just think he was okay. That's concerning. I thought the best player for Arsenal, the only standout player I thought personally was Partey. I thought Partey was brilliant yesterday. I thought he got done once in each half by Diaz, but that's going to happen. Diaz is a quality winger. Other than that, I think he did really, really well against him. I agree with Lee. I think the goal from, was it Havertz in the end? It's not a foul. It's just not a foul. And we'll get to referee decisions in a bit, as you mentioned, Turkish. But I thought it was a legitimate goal. I'm conflicted because I think on one side, I think it's a game Arsenal should be winning. I think you've got to beat your rivals at home. And I don't think we did enough to beat them, really. I think the draw was a fair result. But I think you've got to be beating Liverpool. You've got to be beating Liverpool because they weren't great. But I also kind of would be stupid to ignore the fact that we are missing some key players. You know, we missed a couple of key players during the game. But at the same time, I'm kind of coming around to this Roy Keane narrative that if you're going for a title, you've just got to deal with these things. You've got to deal with these things. And at 2-2, I don't think we really went for the win. And normally I'm the sort of person, I said to my uncle, I was in the game, I said to him, you know what? Do we take a point and just keep it moving? Or do we try and go for the third and risk losing the game? And I said to him, you know what? I think we need to try and risk this and by trying to win the game. And we just didn't. I think we kind of seem to be thinking to ourselves, okay, we'll take a point. That might be because we're in a funk. We're clearly in a bit of a funk right now. And when you're in a funk, you've got injuries, you just kind of get through it until your luck turns again. But my final point, before I defer to James, and it is a referee point, I do agree with Lee. I did think to myself, forget all the big decisions, all the 50-50s Liverpool went Liverpool's way. We didn't get any 50-50s from the referee. And you think as a home team, you're supposed to get...
Before you continue, I want to caveat this for the comment section with this is someone who tells us, Lee judges, and argues with Lee never to talk about referees, right? So before you say that Jordan shouldn't make it, but I'm actually surprised he's saying this. So I'm just want to caveat it. He is someone that gets on to other Arsenal fans about mentioning refs. So, yeah. So you're right. I mean, like, for you to mention refs now is a big thing because usually you're like, forget the refs.
It is, and I don't want to make a too big a... I don't think the referee had as bad a game as has been made out by the fan base from what I'm hearing. He didn't have a good game, but I don't think he had a shocker. But the notable thing for me was that all the 50-50s went to Liverpool. And I'm like, hang on a minute, surely there's a bit of home advantage that gets applied there. We didn't get any 50-50s. So forget the big decisions. We can discuss that in a minute. But all the little ones where you think, they all went Liverpool's way, cool, whatever. But generally, I'm conflicted because I think that it's a game we dropped 2 points in. I think it is 2 points dropped. I think Liverpool will be the happier team. But equally, the injuries, you know, I get why some would make the argument when you're missing key players. A point against Liverpool, this point of the season, you're 4 points behind, isn't the worst point. But I just think too many draws will end up killing us.
Yeah, James, you're up.
Yeah. Firstly, proud of the efforts. Proud is probably a word that gets thrown around a lot, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I do think the individuals on the pitch, first half, we were a real collective unit. Second half, I think, was more individuals trying to come through and look after what we had and dealing with circumstances. But I do feel that every player, whether they played well or not, gave it something for sure in that game. They had to really try to pull themselves out of funk that we're in. Like we've not been in great form, and this was, for me, that first half especially was levels above the performances of the 3 previous games. I actually agree with Jordan. I didn't think we started well. I mean, I know we scored, but that's Ben White and Saka starting really well. I actually don't think we got into our rhythm. But then almost the minute they equalised, we'd started to find that. Declan Rice started to get on the ball. I think you're all right to mention White, Saka and Partey had praise. I felt Marino and Rice were tremendous in midfield. I really did. I thought on and off the ball. And what you got from Marino was number 8 play. It's an all-round central midfielder who's linking defence to attack and contributing. Some of the touches, by the way, when the ball's pinged over the top to keep the ball in play. I mean, he was doing things that you thought, yeah, this is someone who can impact the final third as well. He's got that tech and that skill and that guile, which is good to see. But really, the way he partnered Rice as well was great. I thought they did really, really well against Liverpool's midfield. Now, I said before this game, I said no excuses on the injury front for me because I was confident we could still put out a good back four. And we did. I mean, Ben White. I mean, I don't know why people were talking about Ben. Well, they weren't talking about Ben White, but they were talking about whoever was going to basically come in for Saliba. It was almost like, yeah, we've got no hope there. You know, Ben White is a very, very good player. He proved it again. I was confident Jurgen Timber would be fit and Thomas Partey, fair play. What a performance at right back. I didn't expect it to be that good, but nor did I think he'd be a disaster. So that's why I kept running the whole no excuses line. But guys, sometimes life isn't fair. Sometimes things go against you. And I actually think Arsenal can point to plenty of excuses in this game for why they win the game. And it doesn't sound like a great mentality. I know behind the scenes, that isn't probably something Arteta or the players want to instill too much. But we were fantastic. I think we were harshly done by some refereeing decisions that I think could and should have gone our way. And then you lose 2 really, really important players at the back in the second half. And for everyone saying, the thing is, what I can't argue with is we actually came out in the second half. We didn't look like we had the same intensity. That's with Timber and Gabriel on the pitch. So there can be a conversation around that. But what we did so well in the first half was we man-for-man pressed, and Timber and Gabriel were so aggressive on Nunez and Salah. Lewis Skelly, fair play to him. He did really, really well, I thought. But him and Kivior are completely different profiles. You can't ask them to do that against Salah and Nunez themselves. I mean, that'd just be ridiculous. And in fact, the one time we did, like we said, try and take the game to them in that way, we got caught by a ball over the top. I don't think that happens with Timber and Gabriel on the pitch. So I understood why Rice, Marino, and Martinelli in particular all dropped a little bit to try and protect those players because it had to become a different game. So yeah, call me what you want, guys. I'm making excuses. I am. I think with Gabriel and Timber, seeing out that match, okay, maybe Timber seeing it out was always going to be unlikely. But with Gabriel in particular, I think we win that match, even if we've dropped off and we've decided to be a little bit more pragmatic and protect what we've got. I think we win that game with Gabriel on the pitch. And I certainly think we win it if they give a perfectly legitimate goal. And if they give a penalty, that was absolutely a penalty. So, yeah, sorry. This wasn't what I was saying at full time. I had to really sit and think about my thoughts. And I have, and I've watched back incidences and I've slept on it. And I've woken up feeling like Arsenal are unlucky. That's how I feel. But that happens in football. You move on. But yeah, sorry.
You also make your own luck, though.
Yeah.
And I think the way we set up sometimes, I kind of disagree with Lee. I don't think the Gabriel point is relevant for the way we set up in the second half. Now I'm gonna start with. I said before the game I wasn't overly impressed with Liverpool. I'm gonna say after I'm not overly impressed by Liverpool. That's more damning of Arsenal for me because look at our trajectory. Look at where we're meant to be. What did Klopp's team do to us 3 years into theirs, 4 years into theirs, 5 years into their reign? Whereas they've got a new manager now. And listen, I get it. We have got injuries, but we was the home team. And I disagree with Lee again. I think we started quite bad. I think we had that one moment where Saka and Ben White pulled it out the bag. But in the first 20 minutes, we didn't have a sniff. We were struggling to get into their half. We was On one hand, I could say struggling to get in their half. On the other hand, it looked like that was the setup. Soak it in and see what we can get on the counter. But I just am I like, I don't know. Are you lot still very much like full belief that we're gonna go win the league this year?
It's a good question. Sorry, guys, but can I just jump in first on that one? Because I've been thinking about that as well. I don't normally look at tables until 10 games in. 10 games, Christmas and March. They're my 3 markers, right? We're 9 games in. So I'm not going to make any big kind of proclamations or big statements before 10 games. But right about now, I'm close to kind of being of the mindset that it's not looking like we're going to win the league this year because we don't look right. We don't look, something isn't quite right. There's something about this team that isn't, I can't put my finger on what it is, but something doesn't look right. The only possible positive I think I take from the overall league perspective is that Liverpool and City aren't looking like the big scary monster. There's no one team you're like, yeah, they're clear, they're gone. And the fact that we drew the game, we're now 5 and 4 points. Is that right? Behind City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's, you don't want to be behind those 2 teams. But that's not an insurmountable gap, right? That can be caught, but it can be caught if we're better. We're assuming that this time next month we might be more than 4 or 5 points behind them because we've got some tough games coming up. And from what I've seen from Liverpool and City's fixtures, they got some nice inverted commas games coming up as well. So 5 points now isn't that bad, but it could be 8, 9 in 2-3 weeks' time. So in terms of the overall league picture, I'm not confident. And I'm also not confident because not only are we, I praised the team a lot last year because not only were we not conceding goals, guys, we weren't conceding chances. We weren't giving up chances. Whereas now, Liverpool weren't great yesterday, but they could have scored a couple more goals against us. And I get it, we've got players out, so that's fine. But my concern is that by the time we get those players back, is the league going to be so big it doesn't really matter? So I'm concerned about the overall picture of the title. Just side point, the only quality of the match for me, and I think we should highlight it, was Ben White's assist. Ben White's assist was the only piece of genuine quality that I thought we showed in the whole game. That ball from Ben White is absolutely insane. And we know he's a baller anyway, but I just thought I wanted to mention that pass because to come from a centre-back, where he's placed it is perfect. That for me was the only real bit of brilliant quality I thought we showed. Havertz as well. Sorry, I'm kind of going off tangent again now. I thought Havertz was poor. I thought his work rate was good. I thought he put himself about. I thought he really kind of battled well with Konate. But for me, and I'm going to do a Turkish here, for all the praise we've given Havertz for the goals and performances he's putting up until now, these are the games when we're not playing well. I need something out the bag from him. I need him to do something. He's our highest paid player. He's our number 9. I need him. And I keep referencing Van Persie, and it's maybe not fair, but I just remember so many Arsenal games. We weren't playing well, but Robin Van Persie would find a way to do something and put it out the bag. Now, look, you could argue he's not on his Van Persie's level. Maybe he's not. But the responsibility of our number 9 and highest paid player, I just needed a little bit more from him yesterday. I didn't think we got enough from him. But sorry, I deferred from the initial point that Turkish made about our general Premier League chances.
Well, that just seems like, you wanted to go on that and have a go at Havertz. Just wanted to go down that road. You know what I mean?
I'm not even going to go at Havertz, Lee. I'm just saying I need more.
Havertz wasn't playing up front yesterday.
Well, exactly that. He wasn't even the number 9 yesterday. They highlighted it on Match of the Day where he played. I don't think it's right.
So our highest paid player is a utility man.
Yeah.
Well, I Turkish. I agree.
That's even more fucked than what we're doing.
I agree.
I agree. I don't like the role that he's playing at the moment.
But I'm sorry, let's call it out then because you lot are right. He didn't play striker. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the protection thing from all Jordan said was, we need more. I don't care where he's playing. If you're on 275k a week, the highest paid player at our club, we need more. And now we're saying, I've never seen a utility man paid the most at our club. I've never seen it.
I agree. I think it's a complete waste for, and I include Declan Rice in this as well, because Declan Rice, when he's been playing left 8, he's been hugging the touchline as well in recent games. And what you saw was yesterday, Rice in his best position, running things. And Partey's played really well, so we got a nice little battle there. But Rice was superb. And You're right. I mean, basically, can you ask a player to just do a better job than they did in Kai Havertz just because he's playing slightly out of position? Totally agree. But I was so disappointed how many times, like, there was moments where we played a really lovely ball through the lines because Havertz actually positioned himself brilliantly to receive that pass. And suddenly we cut through Liverpool. And for a second, I went, what a lovely pass. That's a great move. And then I went, I don't want you on this. I don't want you there. I don't want you on the ball. And it was really frustrating because he was almost doing things well that I don't think we're going to get the best out of him. So that was what was frustrating. And actually, Jordan, so I'm not trying to be pedantic, but you said he battled well with Konate. Maybe on the 1 or 2 times he did. But for me, I was disappointed that he barely did. Konate was immense yesterday.
He was man of the match for me. He was brilliant yesterday.
He's up there. Partey, Saka for me. But Havertz is the guy that caused him problems and this is now we're entering slight criticism of Arteta now territory. So we are jumping all over the place. But go on, let's put the referees to the side. Let's talk about the team and what we could have done better. Fantastic first half in which we got better throughout. We didn't start well for me, but I don't understand why there were really good battles like Martinelli, Trent, and yes, they didn't always come off for Martinelli, but for sure he was causing him problems. Now I expect Konate to still win a lot of the battle or duels with Havertz. However, Havertz makes him work for it at least. At least he might pull him out of position like he did back in the February game and give them a problem. I felt Van Dijk and Konate weren't worked hard enough in that sense because Trossard and Havertz were basically completely away from the centre-backs. That's one thing that bothered me from a tactical perspective. Very little I felt we actually got tactically wrong in that game, but that was one thing I found quite strange about our approach, I have to be honest. It's when it was again me being like, that's where Ødegaard would be. Ødegaard would be there, and but I don't know.
Isn't that a damning indictment of what we didn't do, and what I like to talk about all the time? Like, does it look like Arteta uses this guy as a striker? Wouldn't it be nice to have Havertz doing what he's doing with someone actually in the box? It'd be nice. It would be fucking nice, wouldn't it? But hey, let's not.
That's the problem, Turkish. That's the problem. If I'm going to criticise Arteta, it is that he hasn't found a solution to the Ødegaard thing. That is fair. This is difficult to replace him like for like, right? We get that. So you have to do something different. What he's doing is he's using Havertz to do it. And I agree with James, it works. Sometimes we go through the lines really well, but then Saka gets the ball, he looks up, there's no one in the box. Now, Trossard's supposed to be making that run into the box, but at the end of the day, and he probably was in the box, but is he going to beat the likes of Van Dijk or physically with Konate? He's not. And I think that's the problem that we've got. I think at the end of the day, you've got to play Havertz up top and bully it all and get someone else in that pocket. And we
but also that Havertz, what has he been like unanimously praised for? Right, everyone has
creating space.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know if you're saying it facetiously, but yeah,
of course he is.
The way you want to take it, you can take it anyway.
But it's attacking space, it's movement, it's all that. Do you remember when Martinelli put the ball into the Martinelli? I thought did some good things. Remember when he beat Trent? Remember when he beat Trent Martinelli in the first half and he whipped it to the box with his left foot, and it was beyond Saka, and Havertz kind of just took basically a shit touch at the maybe on the back post. And I'm like, yeah, but because you're running in from the wrong position. And then there was another moment in the second half where Havertz actually does some good work and he's found the ball onto his right foot and he's whipped it across to Saka, I think it is, or whoever it is. But I think Konate stuck a leg out. Both times he was either too far from the cross or he was the crosser. And there were 2 times where Saka was the more central player. And I want Havertz being the one making that run. So I feel like he should have done more, but just please keep your striker up front.
Yeah, that's the thing. Also, you can say about Havertz is that what he's done over the last sort of, when we've been really good, is that he's occupied the 2 centre half. He's not bullied them, but he's made it very, very difficult for them, banging into them, doing that. He wasn't doing that yesterday because he was playing a different role. So I would say that I look at Arteta and that, particularly at home, and I think that you say about the Arsenal team, what we're going to do. I'm not judging it after 10 games. Jordan, I'm going to judge it after 11. If Arsenal are 5 points behind after Newcastle and Chelsea, we've still got a chance. If we're 5 points behind,
I do want to throw in
these 2 games now. I think if we drop any more points, which we could do, by the way, we could drop easily lose these 2 games, draw these 2 games. I don't know what's going to happen, and I fear for it. I really do, because I think that, if I be honest, we've dropped 5 points in our last 2 games, because one is at home,
9
and the other game's Bournemouth.
9 game weeks in, like for like games, we are down 4 points, taking into consideration the +3 we got against Aston Villa. So the turnaround is not 4 points down. 4 points down, like for like. Let's not forget last season, we look at the 2 Villa results, we look at Fulham, and we look at West Ham. We all kind of look at those 4 games. We've had 2 of those already.
Listen, I agree with you. I don't think Arsenal were. There's something not quite right. I'm looking at Arteta, and I'm not using the excuse of players being out, because all players get injured. It's what happens. Yeah. If I'll be really honest, yesterday, I think, considering what he'd done, I think, with the injuries that he's gone, fair play to him. There's some certain things I felt maybe the substitution was a little bit too late. I think that they was getting on top Liverpool, and I think that he didn't really change it. But I would say that he found a solution with Partey going in there. It was outstanding. I thought Mourinho yesterday, that was his best game. He really, really looked good. I thought, considering when you say the first 10 minutes, of course, it's going to take a little bit of a while to get into it, but I thought that we controlled it, even though we weren't as blistering. I think someone said, we'd be coming out firing. I never said that we would come out firing that game. I thought it was controlled. I thought we'd done okay.
Why did Arteta say that? Why did Arteta say we'll be flying?
I don't know why he said that. There's certain things, Turkish, there's certain things at this moment. I don't want to go too bad on Arteta, because people say, you criticise whatever. I felt he got it wrong against Bournemouth. He wasn't as, when Jamie Carragher says what he says, I think that I can agree with him on that one. I felt we went too defensive after the sending off. I felt that we should have gone, no, hold on a minute, we're Arsenal here, and we can deal with this.
Let's chat about it a little bit in the morning, because I think he does deserve a little bit of scrutiny, right? And one of the things that was clear to me yesterday watching the game is that in the middle of the park, obviously no Odegaard, we are struggling for creativity, right? We are relying on Martinelli and Saka to create. You've got 3 players in the midfield, none of whom on the ball are going to give you that pass, and it was obvious, right? So I've got 2 questions for you guys. First one is, why do you think he's not playing and starting? Sorry, how good do you think Ethan Ranieri is? I.e., do you think he's starting level now? And secondly, do you think Arteta has a genuine issue with playing youngsters from the squad?
No. That was a very...
Trossard, for me, didn't do a good job yesterday for me.
I thought Trossard did okay.
He done okay. He done okay.
I just don't like the balance of, basically, we've lost Odegaard, so now we're going to shift Havertz all the way over there, and then we're going to give Trossard this kind of false 9 role. We're going to go 4-4-2. I just don't really like the balance of it all. But does he have a problem playing youngsters? I mean, no, because he turned to Lewis Skelly over Zinchenko again in what was a tricky situation. I mean, basically, do a job on Salah, please. Also, can you come on against PSG? Also, can you come on against 10-men Man City? Also, we're trying to defend this 1-0 lead against Shakhtar Donetsk. We played terribly. Like, what a set of requirements, Lewis Skelly's had sort of early in his Arsenal career. Having become a left back 3 months ago, because he was a midfielder.
He's not starting though, James.
And I think it's very different positionally, and you can bring in a Lewis Skelly into a unit that has leaders, that has people that can aid him, protect him, whereas we're asking Ranieri to step in and be the man in midfield, essentially. That's what we're asking now. So maybe that plays a part to it, because, again, we shouldn't be relying on a 17-year-old, but he comes on and all of a sudden the attack looks a bit better. It looks a bit more threatening. So, we shouldn't have left ourselves to rely on a 17-year-old, but now, push comes to shove, I mean, he does show glimpses, so we might as well, because it's not working. Had his Havertz stuff and 4-4-2, and it's not good enough. It's not like, look at in 9 games we've dropped points in 4 of those.
Why are we saying why? And you're guilty of this, Turkish, and I love you, but you are guilty of this. Why do we always say this word? Why are we relying on a 17-year-old? We relied on a 16-year-old. We didn't see no problem with that for years. 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, relied on him. He was our main man for 5 years. No one ever turned around and said, why are we relying on a 17-year-old? Barcelona relying on 17-year-olds and all that.
16-year-old for 5 years. Hang on.
I was thinking the same.
No. If you said like it was 16, 17, 18,
I'm
19.
joking.
Like, but no one said that. I don't think we're relying on him. I think at the end of the day, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter what age you are. And I think at the end of the day, there's always like people like my mate Russ was saying, we've got to rely on a 70-year-old. It's because of the board. It's because we haven't done this. It always looking to. When you say that word relying, it's like a dig. It's a dig at the transfer window, and it's not. He's 17 years of age. He's good enough to be in the squad. Play him. I am saying now, play him.
You know, I'm guilty of it. You're right, but I'll tell you why. You're talking about Fabregas, right?
Yeah, like 16 years of age.
Sensational. I thought it was Fran Merida.
18 he was sensational. 19 he was sensational.
Fabregas left the side
because he left.
Fabregas left the side and said, like years later, the club shouldn't have relied on me so young. He said he was looking around, and this summer was all about bringing in the necessary ready-made players for Odegaard, for Havertz, for Saka, for Rice, for Saliba, for Gabriel, bringing a ready-made player. Instead, we're bringing a young one. So we've got to essentially hope that they up their levels or metrics at some, obviously with Martinelli, it's very different to a Saka because of the trajectory and stuff. But that's what we relied upon. Like Fabregas left this side and said, I looked around and they relied on me too much on my shoulders, and I had to go. So Wilshere, we relied on him young. What happened to him? I've never seen a club go into a window having finished 2 points off a title and then go into a window, come out with net profit, and then you're back up to one of your most important, if not most important, in Odegaard. There's a 17-year-old that hasn't started a Premier League game. That is incompetence from the club, Lee. And you are right, it is a dig at the window, but Lee, we can't keep forgetting what they don't do in the windows, because then
I think it should be a dig at Arteta, if I'll be really honest. You know what I mean? Like if you go into the transfer window and you let Smith Rowe go and you let Vieira go, right? And you are basically saying, like, if Odegaard gets injured, which you don't expect, listen, injuries can happen, but you don't, you're hoping that it don't happen. Let's be honest. If Odegaard was playing, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But once Odegaard's gone out and you try and find a solution with Trossard there, my beef at Arteta is that he's playing. We're taking Havertz out of the role which he was doing very, very well in, changed it slightly, and that's weakened us. And I think that there's the reluctance to say, right, I'm giving it to this kid now. And I do think there's a reluctance to give, with Miles Kelly, I think at the end of the day, he could have started him instead of Timber yesterday, but he didn't. A half-fit Timber. There was a chance to play him yesterday instead, but he didn't. I get the decision. It was probably the right decision at the end of the day. But I think now, it's time. And we know he's going to play against Bolton. But I do believe now that these next two games decide whether we win the league or not. And this is where I'm looking at Arteta now and going, right, be brave, be bold, play him. Because I think Trossard's doing okay, but he's not. But we're not getting what we want up front. We don't look like scoring bundles of goals. You know what I mean? We scored 2 goals, but I don't think we give their 2 central defenders enough problems yesterday. I know Canati had a very, very good game, but he weren't put under any sort of pressure whatsoever. The pressure that he got was from Martinelli running wide so he can cover that light. But there weren't no one bashing into him like we get, Nunez was doing a little bit up for there. I just think like now, and I'm not saying it's relying on him. He's in the squad, play him. And I think that's the way for me now. Like, I think it's been far too long and
you know what happens, Lee?
Back in the next couple of weeks.
We start playing Ranieri this year. We fall short at the end of the year. The fan base talk to people like me, saying, Ranieri's going to be a year older, so don't worry about what's going on. Forget about that because we're ready now. We're going to buy that striker we should have bought, and it's going to roll over again. This ain't 2 years. This is 20 years. This ain't 2 years. I get it. It's not 20 for
I,
Mikel.
I,
It's
I,
20 for us. So
I
I cannot
understand.
excuse them. I cannot excuse them for making a profit in the first window where you've made Champions League money again. I cannot excuse that. I'm so sorry about it. And then you've got Wenger coming out talking about how Man City are a great run club and all of this stuff. So let's see how that 1-1-5 all works out, and that, because that's where a lot of our hopes lie in terms of maybe a light at the end of the tunnel, or maybe excusing the lack of trophies in the last few years. But how about we do what we need to fucking do in the window? I'm tired of excusing it all. And it's going to.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying there, like, because what you're saying is because he's not done because Mikel hasn't done it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. You've come out and said, yeah, I'm prepared to. You know, I thought at the end of the day, by the way, Smith Rowe was brilliant.
Yeah,
Everton
keep him. If you're not going to sign no one, Lee, just keep him. Then I wasn't
get that.
Him if you're not going to replace him.
I get that, and I think that if listen, can I be? I think at the end of the day, Mikel is giving people like yourself and the ones that have been a bit critical to the ball. I've got some of my mates that are the same. I think Arteta is loading the gun for those sort of people because of what he's doing. Like, you know what I mean? I think if you say that, you know, you're selling players because you've got the replacement Odegaard, and then he gets injured, and then we're 6 weeks into it now. Is it 6 weeks? I think it's 6 weeks since Odegaard got injured. He's played one game, or started one game, sorry, and that was, you know, Bolton at home. Come on, there's got to be somewhere along the line. You've got to say, come on.
Yeah. I do think though, you know, I really wanted to win. I predicted a 2-0. And I felt really deflated yesterday that we didn't get it. I still think, maybe this makes me extremely delusional, that I think there's plenty of signs that a couple, you know, maybe 1 or 2 players back, or a couple tweaks or something.
Yeah, we're there.
And we're there. I don't think we are. The only game this season that's left me extremely disappointed was Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It was shocking in that game. And we didn't make excuses, not the red card. You know, we were poor before the red, and the red was a red, and it was all our own making. So Bournemouth's the only game where I came away really disappointed with the team. I still believe in our head-to-head with Man City. And what does it count for? We split the points. I get it. I still think we came out the more impressive of the two sides. I think in this game against Liverpool, let's remember the narrative, maybe not from Arsenal fans because we know our team, but a lot of the narrative was with Arsenal missing players and Liverpool 4 points ahead and 11 wins in 12, Liverpool being looked at as basically a mountain too high for Arsenal to climb. And we nearly did it. And I know nearly, and I get it, but I think we did edge it on the day. Draw was probably fair. That had to be a win. I think we were better. That first half, we were so much better than Liverpool. So much better than them.
I don't think you feel like they're there for the taking, though, because I know you said we nearly did it. I don't look at Liverpool as that anymore, mate. I think only City might be that. And even City at home, I'd be deflated without a win. So I don't look at Liverpool as we nearly did it. They was there for the taking. They've got a new manager. They play a style of football that, you know, is a lot closer to what Arteta's doing than Klopp was doing, for sure. So yeah, I'd expect us to fucking get the 3 points.
Well, I agree. I don't rate them in the same way, but
no.
You could.
I was disappointed with Liverpool. I didn't think.
Let's be real. Were we not there for the taking? Like, come on. If anyone was there for the taking,
yeah, it was us. Exactly that.
Like, look at the position we were in. Like, Thomas Partey is our 4th choice right back. There we go. The thumbs up are back. Ben White's our backup centre back. Cool. Kivior's our 3rd choice left centre back, and Lewis Skelly's like 4th, maybe 5th choice left back. Like, you know, if anyone was there for the taking, it was us.
I just meant they was there for the taking up until 70 minutes when we had them 2 defenders came off. So I can't excuse the 70 we didn't go for it because of the 20 that I understand Liverpool were the stronger side because of our injuries. How can I excuse the 70 where we should have gone for it?
I think the first half we were very good. I do. I know we started slowly, we grew into it, but I do think by half time I thought we've got them here. And that's why the most disappointing period for me was half time to minute 60. When did Gabriel go off injured? around the
60,
hour
I
mark.
think. Yeah.
55.
He got injured about 54, didn't he? 52.
Oh, was it that early? See,
Yeah,
No, I thought it was later than that. I thought it was 60,
no.
65.
He went down before 50 and then went off just after 50.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well then, guys, then actually I'm making even more excuses. I thought it was around the hour mark. I thought it was around 60 minutes he came off, and I thought, why for 15 minutes did we not get into it? But if it was that early, then I kind of get it. Like, I don't know.
I do want to say we spent 30 million on Kivior, and he actually came on in his left centre back position. So even if it is a case of that, which you're right, it is. What? Like we signed Kivior, we spent decent money on him. We talk about Polish international or not. Why is he so shit all of a sudden?
No, but so again, and I was arguing with someone on Twitter about this. Like, if before the game I was saying no excuses, because I felt even if we lined up with Kivior or whatever, you prepare for a game, you're ready. I felt we had options. I do think it's different when you're bringing them off mid-game. In the same way, when Rodri came off, City were all over us. And I'm so glad because now people won't see the bias. We referenced it at the time. Yes, we played really well at City, but we all said it. Rodri coming off injured affected them. Now, they could bring on another great player, and they had all these talented players, but they're on top of us. And the minute you lose someone as pivotal as that, it does just swing momentum. And I think the Gabriel injury had that impact on us a little bit. And for anyone to go, excuses, I said it about Rodri back then. So I do think there's certain players where you're mid-game and maybe before the game, you can chuck in Kivior and expect a level of performance. But in-game, can you get up to speed? We're trying to hold on to this. I do think it's a much tougher ask.
He done okay, boys, but apart from the goal.
Yeah, he was at fault for the goal, but I agree he did okay. But that goal, wasn't great.
Big moment. He let us down.
I know. Go on.
I was just saying, like, other than that, he was okay. He done a job, but when it matters, big decisions, you know what I mean? It was poor defending. It was poor from a little bit inexperience from Miles Skelly as well. He should have not perhaps gone a little bit forward. And Kivior. Listen, can we say that if Gabriel's in there, I don't think we can see that goal.
No, even the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, they tried a similar ball twice, and Gabriel twice got rid of it smartly, cleanly. One was a stretch, like slide. I mean, exactly the same. So you are right. The probability that Gabriel does it, but you're also right. It wasn't that difficult of a situation for Kivior to handle. That step he took to try get the ball exposed us because White then left 2-on-1. Salah's sniffed a bit of blood straight into the penalty box, and the rest is history. But it's those moments. Listen, one thing that annoys me is Arteta's talked about fine margins a lot, and we've talked about refs many times this season, and but some of these fine margins we can't control. We cannot control some of these fine. So all this talk for years about controlling fine margins, bringing Raya in for Ramsdale because of the fine margins. Well, how are we leaving ourselves? Because I do think that the referee's fucked up at the end, or the referee. I do think, he blew it. I don't think the Havertz is a handball. It's on the T-shirt line. Like, people are talking nonsense. I don't think it was a foul on Trent on the goal line. You could argue both ways. It's a duel. And then Jesus puts it in. I do think they fuck up. And in that case, Havertz, wonderful, because that's a chest over a great defender. You turn him, you dink it over, you create that goal. It would have turned around for Havertz's performance. But back to the fine margins. I don't know how Arteta's allowed us to be so defensively minded now to the point where we're regressing every time we go a goal up, regardless if it's against a big side or an average side, and then relying on the fine margins to see us out.
To get us through. I think it's a good point. I know we've got to move on to preview, but I think it's a good point about Arteta's decision making. Well, yeah, we can bun that. We can just do predictions, but I think we need to talk about what Arteta's doing, because there's definitely we're struggling to score, but then when we do score, there's a pattern of we seem to retreat. I don't understand why we're scoring goals and then we seem to be like, right, let's hold out. And I can't work out if he's doing that because it's a tactic and he thinks it'll win games, or if he's doing it because he thinks, look, I have to do this because I've got players missing. When I got my first team back, we're going to be free-flowing Arsenal, bang, bang, bang. But at the moment, I'm just not liking this tactic of we're kind of tentative going forward. When we do finally get a goal, rather than get the second and keep pushing on, he seems to be. It's been noted, like mentioned, doing a kind of Jose or Simeone, and like, right, can you break us down? I'm like, we're at home, and I get we've got injuries, but I don't know if he's doing it because the injuries or because he thinks it's the best way to get wins. But either way, it's just not working. It's just not working.
I don't think when the season's done, I don't think we'll look back on it and our identity, our the way we're perceived as a team would have been boring or defensive. I think we're just going through a moment. I think he's playing the percentages. I think he got it wrong with Bournemouth, definitely with Shakhtar. But I think we'll be fine. I don't think we'll be questioning the style of football at the end of the season, in my opinion.
Turkish just
we will be celebrating a fucking title.
I hope so.
That's my problem. Like,
I'm very confident we'll.
Man City have put teams in a position you can't have moments against them in a season. Like I said, we look back last season, 4 games, and not all of those 4 was losses. So yes, we're having a moment. I agree, but the bigger picture is Newcastle and Chelsea. We need 6 points. Any more drop points? You all start agreeing with me then in terms of the.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I've said it. If we drop points in the next 2 games, it's good night. It's finished.
Sorry, Turkish, agreeing on what? Sorry, after those games, if we don't get
drop points, I think we're on the line now. Drop any more points. I don't think anyone here has full belief. If I ask you, are we winning this title? You lot are going to say yes, even though me and you predicted second before anyway, James. We always have that belief we can.
I'll be really honest. If we finish, if we come in against Chelsea and Newcastle, and we're 5 points behind, which we are now. Is it 5 points? We are 5 points.
5 and 4, yeah.
5 and 4. So we're 5 points behind the leaders. That may still be that still could be a bridge too far.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm honest, but I'm telling you, if it's more than that, it's definitely a bridge too far. And so these next 2 games now, well, 3 because you got Inter Milan in between. You know, this is the toughest week, or after. Sorry. Next week after Preston, this is the toughest week that we're ever going to have with a lot of injuries. And if we don't come out unscathed in it, if we do get the, because I think we've got to get something from Inter as well. I don't know how this top 8 thing works and whatever. We might have to say, right, do you know what? Sacrifice top 8, get into the top 16 and go for it in a playoff. I don't know when we've got more of a stronger squad. These next 3 games,
that's why
Arteta earns his money. This is where, if we win the league next May, we will look back and go, those 3 games that week was a deciding factor. Either way. And I know it's big. You might think I'm out of order or whatever, but that's how I feel.
You're out of order, Liam.
I do think 4 and 5 already feels really far. And with Man City, look, I don't know. We're going to have to be so good in this run coming out, and we're going to need them to drop points. We're going to need to beat them at the Emirates on the 1st of Feb. One thing, though, is to be still in the conversation after 11 games in which Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Villa away, City away, Tottenham away, and Liverpool at home have all been played in your first 11. So that's a pretty intense first 11 games. So if we're still in that conversation with these next 2 games, then hopefully we can start to really build momentum, because 2 wins in those 2 would be huge. And then we've cleared a lot of hurdles there, guys. Liverpool and City will have had nowhere near that kind of run so far this season.
But then you throw in but then this is where kind of, when we say that, and I agree with you saying that without thinking too much, but it's Jordan, what was you going to say?
I would say, but I mean, but that, to Lee's point about the next couple of games, and if we come through it, that's almost why yesterday's result was really important to win. Because am I right? The next 4 games are all away: Newcastle, Chelsea, Inter, and United.
No. The next game after that is not an easy one, by the way. Is Forest at home. They're a dangerous little outfit this season.
All right, but the next 3 are all away, and I know one's in Europe. But that's why yesterday getting the 3 points at home was really, really important. Just slice another separate point.
Sorry, on that. Sorry, I thought you were going to say what I was going to say on James's point. But we reel off the away games we've played, and the tough games. But let's not forget our home form ain't great.
Yeah.
Home form is the one that, so yes, we're leaving home games galore or whatever we're leaving moving forward. But we all know that we're more confident away from home at this moment in time. It's been the case for 18 months.
No, you're right. And to also James's point, talking about I was going to say, talking about the 5-point gap. I think City and Liverpool will drop 5 points this season. I do. My problem is that we have to win every game. We're leaving ourselves in a position whereby we not only do they have to drop 5 points, we have to win every game. So the margins for us are so fine. I don't think the 5-point gap is necessarily that is the problem, because I do think City and Liverpool will drop 5 points. I do. I really do.
They will definitely drop more than 5 points across the next 29.
It might not be more than 5, but I think they'll definitely drop 5. But I'm just not confident we're going to win.
They'll both drop more than 5.
Probably, but
we're going to drop more than 5.
Win, exactly.
Yeah,
we're still going to drop more than 5.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the point.
You could drop less.
That's the point. I was going to mention. Turkish mentioned the goal that we scored that was chalked off as like it was a refereeing error. I agree. I thought the bigger refereeing error was the penalty we should have had. Was it Konate?
Stonewall penalty.
He's fuzzy chopped him in half. I couldn't believe that was not given, and no one's chatting about that decision. But anyway,
why does he not give that? But he sees that. That's my problem with all this.
It's so blatant. It's like what the.
But he sees the foul on Kivier, but he doesn't see that. Is it because he doesn't want to see it?
And then Sky and all these media companies play along because they don't show replays like that anymore. If there's a contentious decision like that thing at the end, how is that not on Sky Sports highlights? Tell me that. How was that moment at the end not on the fucking highlights? Because they're all in conjunction. Fuck Web and Sky and all of them motherfuckers, because they are the reason that these things don't ever get. And fans, we play our part as well, because it's someone else we laugh. If it's us, they laugh, etc. But they have it exactly where they want it, because then they can bring in a referee here. Here's a referee segment for you. You think who the fuck wants a referee segment?
Can I just say something? Let's just go on yesterday. Let's just go on yesterday's games, right? I watched Newcastle Chelsea. I see a penalty given by the referee, which VAR had to overrule. Shocking decision, right? It's nowhere near a penalty. He's fallen over, but the ref gives it, right? I see the Man United game, right, where the ref doesn't give it, and look, we all like to see Man United lose, but that is not that. We wouldn't like that. If that happened to us in the last minute, how would you feel? It's never a penalty in a million years, and it goes to VAR. And then the one for us, which is 100% penalty, the referee doesn't give, and VAR didn't give it. 3 scenarios in the whole of those games, right? All messed up either way. And then I go on to VAR. I don't know how long it was. You might go. It seemed like about 5 minutes in the stadium. They're waiting for a goal for offside. It is a joke what is going on, and there's still people earning fortunes of, for incompetence. It's got to stop, because it's ruining the game of football. I watched the game, Coventry versus Luton, and the Championship. No VAR. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't watch football no more. I honestly do not watch. I only watch Arsenal games now. I don't watch other games no more. I'm not interested because they're crap.
I'm leaning into that more. It's so much easier to sleep at night thinking, Anthony Taylor just thought Konate won the ball on Martinelli, or Anthony Taylor thought it was a foul from Kivior. We'll get on with it. In this age of VAR, how we didn't let play go on and just see what happens, and then they make a decision. It was cowardly of refereeing. They didn't want to make a big decision. It was a clear corner for us at the end there in the last minute, to the box. But honestly, and look, I think they've seen a 50-50 and just gone, I don't find the late corner drama, goal kick. Honestly, I just think they were cowardly. Penalty, we're not even going to look at it. We're not even going to send the referee to the monitor to see if Konate's won that ball cleanly. It was cowardly officiating throughout. And the thing is, Arsenal fans, and I know we are insufferable online, I know we can be, but I do think the way they've officiated some of our moments, I get why we're insufferable. Diaz kicked the ball away. Do you think I want to be on a podcast talking about Diaz tapping the ball away? No, I want to just get on with it. But why are we talking about it? Because we get punished twice, significantly, very harshly, when our players weren't given the benefit of the doubt, but Diaz, Doku, and others were. And I think there was another moment in the Brighton game. Did you see the was it Van de Ven at Palace? The red card, threw on goal yesterday. Did you guys see that?
I saw it.
Threw on goal, Tosin Adarabioyo. Nothing for those. Saliba off. No, I think the Saliba was right. But like,
you could have made circumstances for it.
I do. I'm now entering that. Like, and I've always listen. I don't think corruption. I don't think it's a bias. I just think we've been unlucky.
Sounds it to me, James. Sounds like it to me.
You can be unlucky. Like someone has to have, more bad decisions than others. I think we've been on the end of some worse decisions.
I don't think it's corruption or fraud. I think they're just all dickheads that don't know how to do their job properly, and they never played the game, so they don't know what warrants what contact is a foul, what really common sense needs to be applied. And then you've got this guy Howard Webb up there being the face of it all. He loves it.
He loves it. I agree.
Yeah. And then you get them in VAR room. I'm seeing FPL on the side. I'm seeing Fantasy Premier League on the side of VAR. Now, listen, that's crazy because I'm telling you now, if I'm in the VAR room and my man is there and I need him to score a penalty and there's a contentious decision and I have no horse in that race, I'm saying penalty. I need the 5 points. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jesus Christ. This is the two reasons why, guys, I don't really get exercised about referees, right? One is because I just think winners don't cry, like just get on with it. But secondly, I understand this whole thing's entertainment. VAR, it's all entertainment. Sky, referees, it's all geared.
It's like wrestling. It's like wrestling
Football's
now.
A product.
It's like wrestling. That's why Stone Cold Stunner the referee. Then let's go and Stone Cold Stunner that referee. It'll be fireworks, excitement. The game will change. It'll be a new era. Maybe there's entrance music coming out next time after that.
James, I want to see touch one on the pitch, right? James, I want to see touch one on the pitch, right? And then just give I don't know, Michael Oliver a rock bottom or a stunner or something.
I'll give him the people's elbow, run from one side of the pitch to the other side of the pitch, rip off the armband.
Listen, I'm going to say it now. It ain't going to be long before a referee gets attacked or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? I know.
No, guys, let's not. Oh my God, let's not like.
No, I know, but I'm not going down. I don't want to go down that route, but I can see it happening sometimes. You're out in the pub or something, and you know, or out one night, and you see one of these with someone like this, because there are people out there that are, and I don't think it. Can I get this right now? I don't think it's referees are against Arsenal. Really, I just think they're rubbish. They're poor. They are, and it's been highlighted by the VAR how poor they are.
It's not. They're not poor or corrupt. It's just a product. It's entertainment. VAR. It's entertainment because
it's not entertainment.
It feeds in. No. But what I'm saying for them, it is, because for them it allows them to talk about all decisions for half an hour after the game on Sky. It's on all the podcasts. It's on Sky Sports Today. They got a whole section on Sky Sports News dedicated to decisions. They'll do it on TalkSport. They do it on Sportsfile. They get a referee on. It's all entertainment. We're talking about these decisions. They don't care if it's right or wrong. So for me, it's not corruption or incompetence. It's intentional. It's entertainment for them. It's part of the product of football. That's all it is. And we're the victims. We as in the football fans.
Turkish, I want you, particularly want your opinion on this. I said just then that I think we've been unlucky with with some of the decisions we've had this season. I mean, what's your take on that? Because you're the one, well, they all do, but
Saliba's definitely a red card. Other than that, the two reds for the kicking the ball away, disgraceful. And to blow the whistle yesterday was disgraceful. I've seen man 10 yards offside, run for the ball, collect the ball, take on a player, cross it in, then they get fucking blown for offside, even though we all know it's offside. So how comes in those moments when it's so obvious it's offside, you wait until it plays out to see where it goes? How comes? So for me, but I will caveat with Man United have got that yesterday as well. A disgraceful decision. And there's been disgraceful decisions across the board, not just this season, for the last since VAR's come in. That's my opinion of it. It's not an Arsenal-centric problem. It's a football-centric problem, and it's never going to get fixed if football doesn't come together for it like we did for the Super League. That's the facts of the matter, because Jordan is right. You think these TV companies who give a shit about our emotions as fans and whatnot are not rubbing their hands saying, oh, the clicks we're going to get tomorrow off the back. Let's bring in Dermot O'Leary or whatever that. What's that fucking referee's name? O'Leary.
O'Leary.
Whatever is Dermot, man. I don't know many Dermots. I don't know many Dermots, and then you're gonna bring him in, and Dermot's gonna be there like, well, guys, you know,
Dermot's getting strays.
Turkish just outed himself as the biggest X Factor fan.
All this morning.
all this morning.
Irish people, man. So I know
he's an Arsenal fan, I think. Dermot O'Leary.
He is.
O'Leary is good in my. But you know what I mean? Is they've made a spectacle of it. So you might as well bring Stone Cold Stunners into it because I'd like that. You might as well bring some entrance music and let's do it. Let's do it properly. Bring him in. Bring him in and then run the FA.
Imagine Dermot O'Leary, you know, and this would be great. Imagine he's a fan of Fourever Arsenal and he's just sipping his coffee watching the pod. What? What are you so fun me for?
He'll be on next time. No, you don't you worry about that, Dermot.
Do you know what though, right? Jordan's got a point there. Seriously, like I don't watch that ref watch. I can't stand it. But there's going to be a lot more people watching it today because of what's happening now. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot more people watching it.
Lee, it's the same with transfers. It's the reason why I don't get involved in transfer chat.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's become like an industry within itself. And VAR referees, it's become like an add-on to the game. I don't care about referees. I don't care about VAR. I just don't. I don't care about any of it. I care about football. But all of these things add to the ecosystem of the game. Do you know what I mean? It's money. We're talking. Yeah. We spent half an hour chatting about it now.
Yeah.
Do you know what, guys? It's a serious thing. I watched. You know, I did watch the Luton game. I also watched Sheffield United versus Stoke.
You really had no plans this weekend, did you?
No, I just had a nice chill out Saturday, but obviously Tyrese was playing, so I wanted to watch that. And those Stoke fans, by the way, like, no, less said about them, the better. But anyway, I just enjoyed the game of football.
No, say more, Lee. Say more.
Well, no, what they were chanting and all that. Like, I don't want to give them the break. But let's put it this way: when Tyrese scored, he celebrated, and I messaged him and said, "Well done for celebrating against him." But anyway, another thing. But I just thoroughly enjoyed the game of football. There were, you know, I agree with. Was it you, George, just said, like, if you make a mistake as a referee or Turkey said, you can sort of live with it. You know what I mean? There was mistakes, but there was a decision right at the end for the Luton game, commentary game. Was it offside or weren't it? You know, the goal was given. There was no lines drawn. It was no, like, just got on with it. And it was just back to how football should be. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not the product that they're doing now. I'm not enjoying it.
But, and sorry, let's not really long this out, but just last thing I want to say, though, when are we ever talking about referees after Champions League football?
Really?
Like we never are.
Really?
Like we never, ever are. I think I remember once, I mean, maybe...
They're significantly less, though.
Yeah.
There's significantly less games, but I mean,
I feel
like every single week there's a talking on the refereeing front. And when it comes to the Champions League, I just feel like, who's Trossard's brother? Like, he just, and even when I feel like he's maybe been more biased on one side, I never feel like there's been some really kind of big decision or some big moment where that has just felt like it's seriously impacted the game. Now, inevitably now, way into what man sent off for no reason. But I don't know. I think it's, how many times can we say it? There's an incompetence that is now being celebrated in the form of, as Jordan has said really, really well, you know, entertainment, analysis. It's all part of it. But isn't it, look what we're talking, isn't it part of it? It's great. And it's just, as football fans, we just hate it. It's ruining it for me.
Yeah. And bearing in mind the time, people, I'm going to keep it moving. Hopefully we've covered all bases. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts on it below. I'm sure, you know, the negative stuff's coming in, but it is what it is. Preston, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. You know, stop me if I'm wrong, people. We expect to see Ranieri, Lewis Skelly, Sterling, and alike. Maybe Marino starting again, maybe, I don't know. But a heavily rotated side. We expect to win. We're gonna do our predictions. But is there anything of note that any of you want to mention before I bring up the table and we make predictions?
Sterling hasn't come on this whole week against Shakhtar and Liverpool, which is weird. Anyway.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Trash. All right, cool. Let me bring up the table. that's how the table's looking after this weekend's results. Jordan predicted 1-1. I predicted 2-2. So Jordan got a point. I got 3 points. James and Lee with wins. And unfortunately, yeah, they've got nothing. So 13 games played, people. James is top with 17 points. Jordan in second with 15. Lee's in third with 12. And I'm still bottom, but it's double digits at least with 10.
Yeah, it's getting exciting. Yeah, look, people might think I'm crazy for this. I will be pissed if we go out the cup tomorrow to Preston.
Yeah.
I'll be absolutely furious, man. I think this team is good enough to win silverware. I really, really believe that we're doing our thing in the Champions League at the moment, albeit it's not pretty, but it's effective. And I want silverware bad. I think this team deserves it. I think they're good enough for it. And I'll be so annoyed. You know, Tottenham play City, so one of the big guns are going out. So one of the big ones. You get one.
Big guns.
Okay, I know. I'm going out on Wednesday night. Let's go through, book our place, and once you get to that, what would be our third round of playing, but I think we're pretty much into the quarter. Is it a quarterfinals? I think.
Yeah, after this year.
Down to the last 8. See what you're made of. Maybe get a lucky draw, and you never know. So I'm going to go for. I think Preston will score. We'll go for a 2-1 Arsenal win. I really, really, really want us to go through. Genuinely, it matters to me, that game. Preston and all that, and it's a Carabao Cup win. We need silver.
2-1.
3-1.
3-1. 2-1, 3-1. Lee?
2-0.
2-0, 3-0. So 2-1, 3-1, 2-0, 3-0. That's the predictions, people.
Cool.
Yeah, all good. And let's keep it moving. Obviously, leave your predictions below, but more importantly, download the AFTV Plus app where you can join us on the Fourever Predictor and make your predictions for games this season. Just download the app. It's free and the predictor is in there already. It shouldn't be too difficult to navigate, people. So show some love to the app, to this video. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Show some love to the individual channels. And before we get on to the comments of the day, James.
Yeah, sorry. There's no predictions for the Carabao Cup on the app, just to let you guys know.
Great news. Thank you.
So
Thank
back
you.
to Newcastle.
Better to do that.
But still download it and still, join us for the Premier League predictions.
Are you still in the top 4 after yesterday, James? Or?
Oh, I don't know. You guys go to your comments, have a little look.
I've got a comment here from Jay. It was a heavily liked comment, so I'll get it in. One sec. So Jay said, is it Jay? Let me just click the name quickly. Oh no, it's Keith, but his username is JK. So Keith, he says, Turkish, you have a point about the window, but what's the point in complaining about it in every podcast? Nothing we can do until the next window. It's dwelling on a negative that's in the past now. So maybe listeners find it exhausting. Now I need to make sure I don't come across rude here because you've been very respectful. My intention is not to be rude, but if you find it exhausting that I'm talking about something that's very relevant to why we are talking the way we're talking now, 9 game weeks in, I'm exhausted by that. I'm exhausted by fans that keep on forgetting that what this club don't do. I am tired, exhausted, because it's 20 years now of that. It's not 2, it's not 5, it's not 7, it's not 12. It's 20 years of forgetting the incompetence and negligence of this ownership. It's 20 years of that. So I'm sorry if you are exhausted. I am also exhausted, more so exhausted by the fact that you can say nothing we can do until the next window. I'm tired. Give me a pillow and a blanket. I can go to sleep now, because that's my point. Nothing we can do until the next window. Also, we forget about what we didn't do now. Cost us another season. Potentially cost us big players and a manager, because if you don't win stuff, you don't keep your best players. But it's okay, because there's no point dwelling on a negative. Let's focus on the next one. Okay. But Jay, hopefully I wasn't rude there. But it is a passionate subject for me, because I can't believe how many people try and ignore something because the window's closed and that's it. Hold them accountable is my thing. And the more people that speak like this, it's got 187 likes. I love that. The more I will talk about it, because no one is. So thank you.
On that note, I'll jump in. I've got a couple here. I've got one here. I caught Lee coming out the ground. It was class meeting you. So I'm like, which Lee's this? This might be like Gooner Lee. I'm like, which this can't be our Lee. The big fan of the pods. And then the other one, we now live in a parallel world. Saka and Odegaard are injured and Partey's fit. That's a really, really good point. The two players that have never ever injured are currently injured, and the guy that's always injured is probably our most consistently fit and playing player. So that was a good point.
Next up.
I've got a couple. Lovely. Moreno, whatever his bloody name is. Like, you know. So again, I've got that wrong. Like, you know. And also, I've never heard the word glimpse.
You had a
His command of the English language can be comical at the best of times. I don't even know that I bloody said that, but like, you know, at least I know who Dermot Gallagher is. That's all I'm saying.
Didn't you see my reply comment to one of those?
No.
Oh, okay, no.
No, we'll say it then. Come on, I'll look it up otherwise.
No, Devel said at 15:40 when Lee said he's seeing glimpses instead of glimpses when talking about Marino was comedy gold. And I replied saying, well,Lee was around when the first Oxford Dictionary was written in 1880.
That's nothing. That boy always brings up his true colours. Every now and then he's there, and he like, you know what I mean? When everybody's shaking him up, I back him up. The snake. You snake.
I love you too, Lee, man. Always. Oh, go on, James.
A lot of people ripping me for having never seen Men in Black. I quite like your pinned comment, Turkish. I thought that was lovely. And then Ollie Blake says he really enjoyed the watch along we did together that Lee obviously ditched us for. So really enjoyed the watch along. Highlight was James explaining the game to Jordan. Jordan making his goal.
Jordan making what? So Jordan making what?
Making demands.
Okay. Big up Ryan, by the way. Love.
Cecil showing his goal to everyone and everyone pretending to care. Turkish causing marbles. Jordan are wearing football tops. Need more watch alongs.
Yeah,
that was fun.
14.
That was fun.
14.
Yeah, I'm doing the Inter Milan watch along, like, you know. Why don't you care? We can all do that.
Well, we're not, Lee. We're not doing that one. So you know, it's pointless.
All right.
It's the full team or nothing.
You can't do it, and James is in Italy. Yeah, that's all right, like, you know what I mean? So it'd be just me and Turkish, I suppose.
I'm not on it. I haven't been chosen. I'm not the chosen one for that one.
You're not chosen?
No.
Really?
It is what it is.
Can I just shout out
a Forever One then? I'll just
Forever One.
Can I just shout out a couple of people I met today, the big fans of the pod? Pam, lovely lady, says she loves the pod, loves you, Turkish. And Mohammed also bumped into them as well. And I forgot his name, the young man at the turnstiles, very, very young. He was about 4. Super, super young, but he said he loves the podcast. So I said I'd give him a shout out. So big up those 3 people.
Big up all, especially Pam, since she loves me when we move. On that note, people, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Individual channels, Gooniverse, Turkish LDN, The Big Six, Whisper It Loudly, and Lee Judges TV. And make sure you're here as well, people. We'll be back after Preston and before the big one midday on Saturday, which is Newcastle at St. James Park. Make sure you're there, people. Love for the love as always. We're out. Peace.